We advise the opinions and views of the hosts and guests do not reflect those of the station.
People of this country, hindi makikita yung pinanggalingan natin.
Susundo ka ng doktor, habulin ka ng aso,
Hindi nire-release naman ng pork barrel nito. Useless naman.
Mga patay, papabigyan ko ng 5,000 from my... So,
marami na nagsasabi na
Hindi. Dahil baka mangyari, lahat ng madi-dismiss, mang-hostage na lang para ma-reinstate.
Magandang gabi po sa inyo lahat. Welcome to our show, Heartbeat Live. I'm your host, Ray Orosa. Magpag-usapan po natin sa gabing ito mga bagay na mahalaga para sa ating bansa. Alam naman niyo po ang lumabas sa ating mga pahayagan dito sa ilang araw ng mga nakalipas na napakadaming nasa lakay ng mga sundalo ng GRP diyan sa Basilan. At marami nang nag-issue ng statement diyan kung paano nangyari ito, etc., etc., etc. Sa akin, ang pinakamalaking question dito is, ano kaya talaga ang prospects of peace? How serious? You see, is the pursuit for peace a true pursuit, or is it a peace that is being pursued to satisfy political objectives? O kaya, ika nga even if the government tries to pursue peace, if the Constitution will not allow the demands, let's say, of the MILF, what is the President going to do? So sa gabi pong ito, para makita naman natin ang ibang mga pananaw, we have also invited as our guest here a very young female lawyer, si Attorney Raisa, how do you spell that? Jajuri? Raisa Jajuri. Siya po isang tausog na abogado and a known defender of the Moro and Lumad rights. Siya din ay consultant for the MILF negotiating panel. Okay? At saka Mindanao Coordinator of the Sentrong Alternatibong Lingap Panligal Saligan or Center for Alternative Legal Services upang makausap natin tungkol po sa mga nangyayari dyan sa Mindanao and try to get a reaction to what happened. Yung nangyari kasi sa Basilan is a little confusing, no? Confusing from the standpoint of the people kasi iba-ibang lumalabas sa dyaryo. Sinasabi ng AFP, hindi yan MILF Abu Sayyaf yan. Ang MILF, sabi, hindi sa amin yan Mga sundalo namin yan. And that statement, for example, that said, we knew we had the edge, so we went for the kill. Makes it a little bit difficult to understand if they are seriously interested in finding peace, or except for a peace that comes at the barrel of a gun, or at the end of the barrel of a gun. Ano bang tingin mo talagang nangyari doon sa Basilan? Ano ba ito? Mistaken encounter? Was it basically lower command levels that did not get a chance to coordinate? Kasi sinasabi naman meron namang parts ng MILF na nagsasabi na hindi daw na-coordinate yun and they strayed into MILF territory, as though there were a marker there that would say, oh, wag kang papasok dito kasi ito. Anyway, ano yun, jungle yun, at saka bulldog. And, wala naman mga markers doon na, lalo na kung if you are in hot pursuit. No? And apparently, the group that they were pursuing were part of an original group that had beheaded a Marine from, I don't know how many years ago, in one of the battles, I think in 2007. No? So, Attorney Raisa, ano bang take mo some of these issues?
Kasi po meron tayong between the government and the MILF, merong tinatawag na ceasefire agreement that had been agreed upon by the parties. So
observe more in the breach, it seems like.
I know po. The good news ay there have been reduced numbers of encounters. Especially after an international monitoring team was set
in
up.
place na ba yun?
Yes po.
Headed by still by Malaysia?
By Malaysians, but they have other nations there as well. Libya, and even non-military personnel also monitoring it. So siguro, kung mayroon pong ganyang confusion sa ngayon, all that we need to do is make sure that these mechanisms do their work, no? Particularly to look at what happened and investigate.
So it's a question of looking at what happened after the fact, but so the monitoring cannot prevent.
But there, within that agreement, meron din pong pag-uusap ang dalawang partido na they have to coordinate. If there's a military operation, for example, and they're going to go into an area that is already known. Yes, of course, there are no markers, but both parties know which areas are areas ng...
Generalized boundaries, basically. But
yes, but they know po what's with the intelligence capacity naman ng military, they would know anong area to. And
it would seem to me that the Basilan is an example of failed intelligence on the part of the AFP.
well, that's...
Hindi nila alam kung ano kasagupan nila doon.
Pero ang usual po talaga is that they coordinate, especially if they're pursuing lawless elements. Meron din po tayong ad hoc joint action group where both parties actually cooperate in going after these lawless elements para nga maiwasan itong pagbabakbakan.
Yung sagupa.
Yes.
Okay, but why would then what do you attribute that statement that came out in the newspapers, di umano from the MILF, saying we saw we had the edge, so we went for the kill?
Well,
I mean, that does not sound like the statement of somebody who's interested in peace, but simply one-upsmanship.
Yeah. But that's just one article. If you look at the other statements, meron pong iba rin nagsasabi, no? Like, for example, one article that came out of the MILF website is that they knew they were going to be ambushed. So they were ready when the military came. No? So these are the things...
You mean, who was ready, who was aware that they were going to be ambushed?
The MILF forces.
Wait, okay. Let's clarify first, no? Kasi ang sinasabi ng military, they were in hot pursuit of a particular commander who belonged to the Abu Sayyaf. And the problem, of course, here of identity is a very difficult one to resolve. No? How distinct is Abu Sayyaf from MILF? I mean, of course, from a legal standpoint, we know the Abu Sayyaf has been labeled a terrorist group. And the MILF has not been so labeled. So, but the question is, hindi ba nag-uusap yan? I mean, they fall under the category of being a fellow Muslim. So, the military has always complained that when they are in hot pursuit, pagpasok ng MLF territory, sa lugar ng tulungan sila, kinukublihan daw yung mga, some of these, quote, lawless elements, unquote, rather than cooperating really and either driving them out or surrendering them to the military authorities.
But then there are mechanisms nga, sir. So if there are violations in whatever agreements they have on, particularly on ceasefire, that can be brought up with the respective ceasefire committees. And then you have the IMT, which can also do its own independent
What is the
investigation.
IMT? Give me the full name for it.
It's the International Monitoring Team and created by virtue of the peace process. Wherein we invited Malaysians, people from Libya, Brunei, etc.
How long does it take them to make a finding and issue a statement, and how objective is it?
Well, it should be objective because
should be, no?
It should be objective because this is a mechanism that is not part